ancestry.
Well, it's nice to have you, studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning,
Yes.
Sena.
We've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we are using Farmers Day to kick it off. So hopefully you'll see him more when we're talking about issues that have to do with food and agriculture. We'll have a lot more conversations with him because you do a lot of work with farmers currently.
That's true.
Most of the farmers, do you work with commercial farmers more or smallholder farmers?
Okay, so with the way that our work is, we work with both commercial and smallholder farmers.
Okay.
But then generally, smallholder farmers constitute about 80% of, or produce 80% of food you consume.
80%?
Yes, of the food you consume. So smallholder farmers also then constitute a bigger proportion of individuals who are into Agric.
Okay.
So we work with much more smallholder farmers. Currently, NewAge Agric Solutions Limited is work with about 15,000 smallholder farmers.
15,000?
Yes, across the country who are doing maize, rice, and soya.
Okay.
And so I'm sure you know of our leading rice brand,
Yes,
AVV Rice, which is a rice that is produced by the smallholder Ghanaian farmers who are mostly women and youth. And then we process it locally, and it's also well packaged. It's also FDA approved. So we are trying as much as possible to get more smallholder farmers to come on board, and most important, the youth to come in, because without the youth, I think the next 10 to 15 years, our Agric may end up dying.
I'll come back to the matter. So since he has brought in AVV Rice, so anytime you think about AVV Rice, this is the man who is general manager of the company that puts together AVV Rice. But you're doing maize, rice, and soya.
Yes.
And then let me go back to where you're talking about the youth. If you look at Agric currently, because I saw a lot of young people at some point attempt to enter into agriculture, and a lot of them were coming together to do commercial farming. You look at Agric currently, is it a favorable environment for anybody to go in?
I would say, currently, I'll say no, but then the Agric is actually a good option of livelihood to pick.
Okay.
And I think if you, along the conversation, I will demonstrate why.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, as you rightly mentioned, we've been trying as much as possible to whip people in line, especially the youth, to go into Agric.
Okay.
And the reason is simple. When you look at the average age of current Ghanaian farmers, the average age is 55 years.
55?
Yes, the average age of current Ghanaian farmers is 55.
It's a youthful population.
Yes, and if you look at the life expectancy of the average Ghanaian, we are between the life expectancy between the age of 55 and 65. So if you are just doing statistics and claim that should it happen that all the farmers will end their life within the life expectancy of 66 or 65, then that means we are, in the next 10, 15 years, we are hoping to, or we will end up having all our farmers being wiped away. Then the agricultural sector comes to a standstill. And that is why we need to get the youth to come on board. More so for, the Ghanaian economy, where we have over 30% to almost like 60% of our population who are youth. We can't leave the future of our feeding into the hands of those who are old.
Okay.
So that is why we as a company, and we believe other agencies, including government, should whip more, should make agriculture very, very interesting for the youth to come on board. Then you asked about if it was favorable. The truth is, there's no way Agric can be interesting for Ghanaians or for the youth if we don't have governments coming on board.
Okay.
There's no way. Because the barriers of entry are enormous. The barriers of entry are enormous. One key among them, of our land, tenure issues, where it is very difficult to get large tracts of land.
Okay.
So without the intervention of government and policy, it's difficult to get large tracts of land. Second, it's about financing. The getting finance for your business.
Okay.
I heard my good brother from Chamber of Public Business mention about the financing. It makes practically no sense for a Ghanaian economy where farmers have to go for loan and pay over 40% as interest rates. You get our point. So it's very difficult.
But you have a whole agreement. ADB.
Oh yes, we have ADB.
Was set up for the farmer.
Yes, we have ADB as a universal bank. There is a DBG, where guests are supposed to offer that level of shield. But then they are also still in double digits. So you still have farmers who still even qualify for it within double digits, between the range of 15% to 20%. And there's no way you can compete with someone in Thailand, even someone in far away Pakistan, who are getting their interest, who are getting loans at almost at no cost, or getting their rates at single digits. That's why they can bring their rice into the country. It's still be cheaper than us who are doing the local production. And it's all because our cost of finance is extraordinarily high. So just like other countries have done for, the agricultural space in general, and as they've done for the youth, there can be that special dispensation for you to enter into Agric, who then be offered single digits interest rates, at least for the sake of it, just so that we can be able to equip more youth to come on board into Agric.
So first issue is land.
Yep.
And if land is with that land you can farm.
Yes, obviously.
What is the problem there now? Because there used to be no issue with land at all. So what's the challenge now?
Currently, if you want to do the large tract of land, then obviously, when you are moving your 100 acres, your land might hit into a different family's land, and that's where it becomes an issue. I think there used to be state farms where there were large of land, the individuals could go there and farm. Currently, I think that kind of the state farms are still there, but the fact that it's still not being more like well developed and nurtured to allow people to just go in and farm becomes quite a difficulty. When you even get land, which is maybe probably a virgin land, you are still supposed to develop the land. And by development, I mean you would pull down, you excavate, you do the bulldozing, you pull down trees, you remove stumps, and it costs a lot. So I know governments through NIDA are doing this economic enclave where they are trying to do something of that sort. So, but then the point is we need to do much more. There is the need for that kind of attention to ensure that large tracts of land are being made available. So that youth can come on board and do more of an in-grower system. So in-grower is, the land is there, come on board the land, you pay a rental fee. So the land development has been done already, then you do your land preparation, you farm, end of season, you pay a rental fee. These are one of the easy ways to get the youth to come on board into farming. Else, it's not easy for people to come by money, and if you come by money, it's very difficult for them to sink the money into land development before they prepare the land, before they end up farming for them to have the produce to pay back. So that's where the basic thing is. I think there is a need for, donor support, governments. I think the private sector can do the bit that they can, but without infrastructure in place, the private sector, works in vain.
So a lot more, because then land security has now become a major issue. In fact, there's also a level of competition, I understand, from real estate companies, because right now, we used to talk about developing the Accra plains.
Yes.
And nowadays, real estate companies are selling areas around there to companies, to people to buy. And when you say government should come in and secure the land, what essentially can government do?
Yes. Anyway, urbanization is something we can do away. And for a country which is now a middle income economy, hoping to get to a high income economy, obviously urbanization and the growing of the middle class is something we can do away with it. So obviously lands which are close to the capital centers, like land close to Accra, close to Tema, land close to all the regional capitals, will definitely be converted into domestic homes where people have to also find a place to lay their head and come to work in the capital city. However, we still have a lot of land which are still untapped. Currently, as I speak to you, lands across the country, just about 24% of it is being used for agriculture. But 57% of these lands are arable land. So we have a lot of land which are still in there that can be developed. So we need to move the agriculture from the capital cities and move agriculture into the hinterlands. There, that means we are also then moving or pushing people who in otherwise actually also want to also do some level of farming to move away from the capital cities and go to the hinterlands. Another way of also bringing development to these, peri-urban and rural areas. So, for me, the suggestion basically is lands which are quote unquote virgin lands are lands that government should now target.
Okay.
Government develops this land, and government also, rent it off. This is like, as I mentioned, the economic enclave is being done.
Okay.
It's a good idea, but the scale is small. We need, if we actually really need to be food sustainable, we need to run at a more faster pace. And I think, if not, competitively, we can be able to compete with what's happening in elsewhere, in Asia, in the Middle East. There's no way we can compete, and we'll keep on importing food, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Then there's the matter of finance that you talk about, because you can have land without money.
Yes.
You can't even clear the land, talk less of even cultivating it.
Yes.
Currently, people are taking loans that you said 40%.
Yes.
You're saying that even if you offer the farmer, let's say a loan at between 12 to 15%, there's a problem.
It is better than 40%.
Okay.
But it is not as competitive as the one who gets that 3% outside Ghana.
Oh, okay.
You got a point. So the angle I'm coming from is, yes, something is being done, but there's much more that needs to be done, and special focus to be placed on Agric. I think the agriculture contribution to GDP used to be about 30%. About 30 years ago. Currently, just about 19%. But when it comes to allocation of yearly, funds, government allocation to Agric, it is less than 2%.
Okay.
How do you want to give up 2% for it to contribute 90% to the economy?
Okay.
That then means that if you at least double your contribution that you give off, you can also potentially double the contribution of this sector of the country, to GDP. And let's not forget, Agric is not a ministry. Agric is actually a sector. There are three sectors of the economy. There's agriculture, there's services, there's manufacturing. Okay. And so Agric is not just a ministry, or Agric is just not a job creation. Agric is actually a sector of economy. Okay. So if the sector is contributing 19.5% to general GDP, your contribution in terms of supporting that sector should be much more. Okay. But then, 20 years ago, there was the Maputo Declaration. All governments went to Maputo and declared that they are going to give 10% of their budget to support Agric. 20 years down the line, African countries have not been able to do it. Ourselves, Nigeria, we are all hovering around 1%, 2%, under 1% in some instances. So if you are contributing under 1% and it's contributing 19.5% to GDP, that means if you double your contribution to it, it can contribute much more to the GDP. Okay. I don't know if you get my analogy.
I do.
So how can you just contribute 1% to a sector of an economy? What then would the 99% do to you? I don't know if you get me. So you need to at least, Maputo Declaration, stated that all African countries will contribute at least 10% of their GDP or of their expenditure in a year to Agric. Okay. Let's at least start and double what we are doing currently, the 1% to 2%, and see the impacts on general.
It's interesting the way you describe Agric, because typically when they are putting the budget together and you listen to the budget statement, Agric is treated under a ministry. So we're looking at Agric from the perspective of this is education, this is Agric, this one goes to Agric, this one goes to education, this one goes to health. Yes. But you're saying Agric should not be treated as one of the areas under a ministry. But you're saying it's a sector on its own. Yes. One of the three vital sectors, if not the most vital, one of the three vital sectors of it. Do you feel that there's that understanding applied when allocating resources? That those who put together this budget actually see Agric as sector?
Anyway, obviously, when they are stating reading the budget, they talk about the three sectors and they talk the contribution of these three sectors to the economy or to GDP. So I obviously appreciate that every finance person or economics appreciate that Agric is actually a sector of the or one of the three major sectors of every economy.
Okay.
But then when you even piece together, the Ministry of Food and Culture, the Ministry of Fisheries, let's even water resources. When you put all the budget allocation together, it is still under 2% of what the total expenditure is. And it's cut across. So I'm saying 20 years till now, governments across have not prioritized agri that much. All I'm asking for is, can we at least double what we are currently doing and see the impact of its contribution to GDP? Do you get my point?
Yes.
Yes. So currently we are doing something meager and it's doing 19.5. Let's double it and see what contributions can do. And more so, this is a sector that employs a third of your labor force. This is how critical it is. It employs a third of your labor force.
30%?
Yes, of your labor force. So it isn't just one unit that you can just, downplay it. It's actually that critical. And Agric, the agricultural sector, produces food that you and I consume, produces raw materials that the industries or manufacturing, which is one of the sector also uses. So if you are not giving that much attention, what then it means is you are also affecting or having a way to have impact on the manufacturing. Then it also then affect our food security. Now, beyond food security, there's the food sovereignty as well. So you can have food to consume, but you don't control the food you consume.
Okay.
And that is also very critical. So currently, yes, obviously, when you go to the market to get food to buy, or when people import things,
you don't control.
you don't control food. And that's why when there was issue with the global supply chain issues, when we have COVID, you realize that our food price starts skyrocketing because we don't end up controlling what we consume. And I believe that it's about time that we give that attention to Agric. Yeah.
So put a lot more money in it. So money, and then there is land. Any other challenge that's obvious? Because you already talked about the challenge of encouraging the youth to come in.
Yeah.
So those are three critical areas that you've identified. Is there any that challenge that you believe needs to be urgently dealt with?
Currently, we're also in what is called the fourth revolution of industry.
Okay.
Where others describe it as Industry 4.0. And the Industry 4.0, there is agriculture, which is under it, which is also agriculture 4.0.
Okay.
Here, we are focusing on the use of smart technology to get agriculture to be done in a less gradual manner.
Okay.
That means the stress that our farmers go through into farming, we have to minimize the stress as much as possible.
Okay.
So here we are talking about where we can be using drones, agricultural drones for spraying. Instead of farmers having knapsacks behind their back and tapping their hand and walking around. So what a drone can do in maybe half an hour, it can do much more than what 1,000 people could do.
Okay.
So in settings, you make it interesting for the young ones. Now these young ones are tech savvy. They would want to, work on their phones. The use of these drones is just about controlling it, appreciating the technology behind it, appreciating the concept of Agric, and being able to use agricultural drones to be able to farm.
Okay.
There's also the use where you can also use sensors to help in advising the lack of nutrition or maybe moisture that your farmers might be having.
Okay.
Now,
that's technology that's currently available.
Oh, yes, currently available. It's currently available. Just that it might be quite expensive, but the fact that if there is that commitment, then government can come on board and ensure it's available for those who would end up needing it. When we do all these things, we end up getting these youth to come on board and for them to have interest in Agric. Because no one wants to go to the university, and go and pick a hoe and farm. But if the person knows that he can be able to have access to maybe a mini tractor, a power tiller that can make his work less drudgerous, obviously the person will go into Agric. So there are many young people.
So the form of agriculture currently It's not attractive to the youth.
Yeah, the form of agriculture that you're supposed to practice now can be attractive.
Yeah.
Because we're the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah. But what we are doing,
we are currently doing, we are still some few months away. And that is why there is a need for either for all stakeholders, private sector, for the donor world, for government agencies to start making it attractive.
Okay.
Because the perception when you go to the classroom and ask kids, what do you want to do? It's quite difficult for you to get one single child to tell you, I want to complete school and become a farmer.
Okay.
Everyone has these other luxurious jobs that they have in mind that they think, is important. But no one says, I want to go and become a farmer because the perception that has been created. So there is a need for us to change the perception. I'm not saying it can be done in a year,
Okay.
but if there is that holistic approach that we have a 10-year plan to change the perception of agriculture in the minds of these young individuals, then it can be done. We also need to stop seeing agriculture as a punishment. When you are young and you do something wrong, they'll ask you to give you a cut, they ask you to go and weed. So the person grows hating the punishment, not Agric.
Okay.
But the mere fact that Agric also is about holding cattle, the person ends up hating agriculture as well.
Okay.
So as an important sector as Agric, there is a need for that change in perception.
Okay.
And that change in perception can't start now. At least for me, I'm already old. It's about the young ones who are coming up, the generation alphas and the rest. If you don't change the perception of their appreciation, before you have everyone going to the other things, in Agric will be left abandoned. And we have no choice than to focus on importing food just to consume.
But already you said we have a third of our workforce in Agric.
We already do.
Now, if we do have a third of our workforce in Agric, and let's say we increase expenditure on Agric, what's the potential there for employment?
Okay, so there was no analysis of what there's no in-depth analysis, which is quite qualitative for me to make the assessment. However, let me make this analogy. We have 60% of the population of Ghana being the youth.
Okay.
That means we have 40% who are not youth.
Okay.
They are adults. Then we have 80% of those in Agric who are adults. And the average age of those in Agric now to be 55.
Okay.
I get my point.
Okay.
55 years. And Agric employs a third of our labor force. It can then be presupposed that those who are engaged now, that 1/3 of those who are in Agric could be the adults.
Okay.
And there are very few people who are the youth.
Okay.
So trying to increase our support into Agric means that we also have to increase the change in perception, the activity change in perception. So we can have the youth, because we're already a youthful population. We have the youth to now start changing their mindset to come into Agric. Those who might want to do mechanical engineering can do mechanical engineering and focus on agricultural mechanical engineering. Those who might want to do economics might still do economics and still focus on agricultural economics. Those who might want to do marketing might focus on doing agricultural marketing. So we are the admonition here is not about we asking people to stop what they are doing. The fact that we let them understand that agriculture is also an alternative that they can also be able to appreciate. By so doing, we can have young individuals who might be very talented data analysts. They will analyze agricultural data. You might have very people who are very talented engineers, but they will be working on drones, they'll be working on tractors, they'll be working on power tillers, they'll be working on rice milling. Do you get the point? You might have engineers and those might want to go into manufacturing. Now their manufacturing is no more going to the others, but they'll focus on agricultural manufacturing. So that is how, going forward, we can be able to stabilize our agricultural sector. Else, the truth is, if we don't actually revolve, we will perish. There's no two ways about it. If we don't revolve, we will perish.
Yeah. Because having said that, and Harry, welcome. Good morning to you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, let me acknowledge your presence. This is the man with TV rice. If you want TV rice, see you. Anyway, it's nice to see you this morning.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
We were supposed to have had one, but It looks like we
Yes,
both.
oh, yes, we both.
There's some miscommunication on our part. Anyway, yeah, nice to have you. At some point in time, I'll ask you a few questions, but that will be on FV Rice. But I'll come back to Doc again. If you just join us, his name is, in fact, when we're producing the flyer, he sent us Martin Nartey.
Tettey. Yes.
Tettey.
When you mention Tettey, then you are making the second maleborn.
Oh.
Yeah, Tettey is second maleborn. Tettey is first maleborn.
Oh.
And as prestigious as my position as the first maleborn is.
Yeah. Martin Tettey.
Yes.
Nartey.
Yes.
In fact, when we were putting the flyer together, he sent us the name.
Yes.
And we forgot that he's doctor.
Oh, but Tettey, I mean, that's the name. I was born Christian Martin Tettey.
They are from NewAge Agric Solutions.
Yes, please.
This is what they've been doing. And the name alone tells you that their attempt is to try to drive us into the new age of agriculture. But it's not that easy for a private entity.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of support for you to do that. We'll come to some of the things they are doing currently. But before that, now, majority of the time when you hear people speak about agriculture, they're talking about even if I go and cultivate, let's say I cultivate tomatoes. They'll say majority of it will end up rotting on your farm.
Yeah.
You have issues with farmers saying consistently where we live, we grow the food, moving the food from where we are to a market center is a problem because of the state of the roads in the first place. Yeah. So our agriculture is plagued by sometimes issues that are basic that we can deal with. Are you seeing any changes in terms of this? Much more attention, because you are dealing with the farmers now. Are you seeing much more attention on rules that lead out of farming areas? Are you seeing that? And are you seeing that support? Because recently one of the things I heard about had to do with the fact that the price of fertilizer like doubled, some to the point of tripling.
Yeah.
In those, how are farmers able to survive those? Because if you are losing about more than 20% of what you grew, because you can't evacuate it, how do they?
Yes, I mean for perishables like tomato and the rest, the post-harvest losses are quite huge. Yeah. In some instances, the post-harvest losses could go beyond 50%.
50%.
Yes, in some instances. Let me see if I can use this analogy. The farming we do in Ghana is mostly rain-fed.
Okay.
So when it's raining, everyone goes ahead and farm. Okay. So there's always a season. Okay. So there's a season for maize production, there's a season for soya production, there's a season for cowpea, there's a season for tomato. Now, when we are also, because they are all the same, varieties, or mostly closely related varieties. When they are all manufactured, when they are all maturing, they all mature at the same time.
Okay.
And that is where in agricultural they call it the guts. Okay. So there's a glut. That means there's a lot of produce that is there. And that's where you see on radio and TV, people complain that have tomato and no one is buying it. It's all because the tomato quantity that is being produced at that time is beyond what is consumed as at that time. Okay. It doesn't mean tomato cannot be consumed later on then. That's why you end up seeing tomato, which sometimes become, it's in lean season, the price are astronomical. Okay. It's all because every farmer follows the rain, farms and harvests at the same time. Okay. Now, what's this issue? It brings one issue with the supply chain, logistics supply chain. Now, because the off-takers cannot be able to off-take everything, and these are private off-takers. Because if I come to your farm and I come to off-take your tomato, you would expect me to pay you your money. As a private man who have gone for a loan which is already, choking me, I can't go for much more than I need. So I'll just buy what I need. Okay. Now, because of this unfortunate issue, farmers would end up losing some because you cannot be able to sell everything of yours that quickly. The option where there is an agency that can help even private people buy the excess, process and keep
Okay.
so they can be able to sell in the course of the year, then becomes a helpful option.
Okay.
So the lack of that opportunity then means that farmers will now they have to resign to their fate. If you can't sell at that price, then you have no choice than to discount it to sometimes below your costs, just so you can get something to take back home. And sometimes when farmers are bringing their produce from there is a town, and there are villages and there are farming villages.
Yeah.
So people will go to their farming village and go and farm and bring the produce to the village before those from town will come and buy from them.
Okay.
So when you look at the struggle you have struggled to bring your produce to that village on that market day, you're unable to sell because there's not ready market. You would end up having no choice either to undersell your price or you allow it. I mean, you sell what you can and the rest is left there to rot.
Okay.
Now, some of the issues like the road linkages and the rest, it is not the need of the farmer is not an asphalted road. Sometimes it's about just the various municipal assemblies doing their job by also helping. Leveling the road to make the road accessible by that is the kings of the earth, or sometimes mini trucks that can be able to haul this produce from the farm to the market centers. So whenever government is mentioned, I appreciate it that they said the ultimate, the one who holds the ultimate power. Is government. But then I think decentralizing it down was. I think there is a need for these various districts, municipal assemblies, to take up some of these challenges. I sure they may have their own challenges, maybe with the ultimate government. Yeah. But for me as a farmer, the least I want is my farmland is mutual. That's all. I don't need an asphalted road. Just for me to be able to bring the food from the community to the major town for me to be able to sell. And that's the reason why sometimes there is this disparity. People say, oh, when I went to the farm gates, the price was this amount. Okay. But I come to town and the price is this high. Then they say, okay, the middlemen are ripping them off. Yeah.
In fact, the Minister for Agric said this week. Yes. The same thing you are saying.
Yes.
Said it this week.
So when he says, when farm price is at a certain price, it's true. Yeah. Yes, farm gate price, what he mentioned is true. But then, there's always the challenge of transportation. Because sometimes if you want to make economic sense of bringing maybe maize to town, you have to get a 40-footer, trailer to be able to pick your produce. These are the very long trailers. Okay. Sometimes they cannot go to the very community that needs maize. So you have to get smaller trucks that will move the maize to a center for you to onwardly upload it or load it onto a bigger truck. Okay. And this big truck also comes down. The truck currently, a bag of maize to Accra is about 20 cedis if you're lucky for one bag.
If the truck is moving,
when the truck brings from maybe as far back in the northern region, maybe Tumu to Accra, if you're very much lucky, one bag of maize, the best price you can get on the market, which I know you might not even get now, is 20 Ghana cedis for one bag.
Okay.
That means if I buy the maize at the price that's, the farm gate of 150, I already have a cost of transportation, which is 25 cedis that will add on to it.
Okay.
Make it 175. Don't forget I mentioned that you can also do from a certain community where the truck is. Okay. Maybe let's say, generously is 2 cedis. Okay. They move 177. Then you do a loading. Okay. And don't forget the loading guys also charge. Yeah. Which is also a cedi. And in some instances, you also pay what is called the council tickets or the municipal assembly. Also need to make some money. And that also costs another a cedi. So before you realize, the price which is supposed to be 150 already is already 100, almost like 190. Then this person who is bringing the truck, the middleman who have used his money to buy from the farmer, who is going for a loan from the banks, who is already charging them about 39%, 40%, who also have to add his cost of finance plus his margin. Okay. So when people say their maize is costing 250, 260 in Accra, it's not far-fetched. because of this process that comes into play.
Okay.
So that is why I like, or I seem to admire the new policy that is coming at the 2.0, period 2.0,
Okay.
where there is a need for warehouses, where aggregators will bring their produce in, then the government holds some stock. Then whenever there is a national security issue, it can be released.
That's
A proper implementation of this policy will be a perfect environment for us. So, but
what you told me, it's like, but I'll come to that.
Yes.
I know politicians are mostly emotionally attached to some of these policies, and we don't take kindly to criticism.
Yes.
But it is our job to sometimes raise these issues, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
Because it's important that these issues are addressed. But let's say I wake up in the morning, you say young people should go into agriculture, and I decide today that I am going to agriculture. Doc, what do I need?
Oh, currently, if you want to go into Agric, one, you need to find the land first.
Okay.
Then you need to find someone who can support you, like a company like NewAge, who will help you appreciate what goes into it. Okay. So if you're a farmer,
you must know what
you know what you intend to do. So maybe if your land is around the marshy areas, maybe Asuchari, Vector, Oglu, I would advise you to go and do maize there. Because when I look at the state of your land, I was to do rice. Because rice, there's market for you. If you find your land around the transitional zones, Afan Plains, you find your land around Tettey in Kranza, then I would advise you, maybe do maize, because you can't do rice there, because you won't get as much benefit from it. That reliable information or data that you need is critical to decision making. So you find either your district's both offices who might help you, or you speak to a reliable company like ours who will definitely help you to find the best crop you end up doing. Then it comes to the court finance. If you're lucky to find yourself with us, under our, we have a project called Chigaba, which is it's how should I describe it? It's more of we see it as it's an outgrowth scheme, but it's more prone to it's more like we are supporting the less, those who don't have that opportunity that we have. So we provide them with input supports, we provide them with the information, and we provide them with the markets. So we see it much more like a sustainable social endeavor. So it's more like a social enterprise for us. Now, for us, if you are within our operational areas, you're a youth, and you want to farm, you come to us, we'll help you farm. But then we are not everywhere. We are across the country. We are not on every single land. So
that's understandable.
If you don't find us, then you, the young farmer, you may have to find your money and buy your produce. Now,
and figure out what you're doing.
That's it.
Because
you have no choice.
I hear some people say, I went into ginger farming. First year, I virtually lost everything I grew.
That is it.
Which means that the person had no knowledge before entering into...
Yes, I hear that quite a number of times. Ginger is also a high altitude crop. And by high altitude, I mean you need to farm it at a higher altitude land. So if you go and farm ginger on a low altitude area, you will not get a yield. And that's what I'm saying, the reliable information is important.
So it is not good enough to say, I saw John Dumelo harvesting some ginger.
But it is where,
so he's in my area.
So where he's farming it, maybe where he's farming is a high altitude area. So if you are in maybe somewhere in low altitude area and you get motivated, you also go and do ginger, you may end up banging your fingers. And you might say, ginger farming, you didn't do well. It's because you didn't plant it at the right place. So that's why I said, the location you find yourself, you need a reliable information of what kind of crop does well there. And for us, we are not talking about where you farm and break even. We are talking about helping you farm, for you to farm and see the farming as a commercial entity. Or you want your livelihood to improve. We want you to come back next year and tell me you're no more doing 1 hectare, you're doing 2 hectares. We want you to come back and tell us you're no more doing 10 hectares, you're doing 20 hectares. Because our job is, when we help you farm and you appreciate it, you come and do more and you buy more from me. And I'm a businessman, so the more you buy from, the more margins I make. So we are a social enterprise, but then we are pro-profit. So we ensure that you are profitable in the venture you do. And that is why I think whatever be the interventions that comes along, being it donor, being it any of these government agencies, there is a need for them to have a more practical private entity, part of it, to ensure it's sustainable. Whenever we talk sustainability, There are three major factors when it comes to sustainability.
Okay.
You have the social sustainability.
Okay.
That is where the job is created, employment is engaged. People are able to fend for themselves. Their livelihood is assured. Then we have the economic sustainability, and that is where the person is able to have enough money and now start saving.
Oh,
Yeah, but now when the person is able to save, it helps the economy as well.
okay.
So the person can also now do other things, can be able to send their children to better schools, help the whole country as a whole. The person can now be able to go and buy something else and pay VAT on it. That's the economic sustainability. Then we also have the environmental sustainability, which I think we may have to focus a little bit much more on. Because now, with all the talking I've done, with all the government policies that are coming up, no matter how brilliant they are, if our environment fails us, we are gone. And that's why there's the need for us to farm so that future generation also want to farm will not have an impact of what we have done now.
Okay.
And that's where environmental sustainability comes into play. So people just find, okay, I'm farming now, so if I'm dead, I'm gone. Then you have defeated environmental sustainability. You are not a sustainable farming venture. The farming venture or environmental farming sustainability when you're farming, the activity you are undertaking should not have an impact into a future generation who also intend to undertake the very same activity on that same land. And that is why I think the illegal mining or say the ripple effect on us is not just those who are within the area. The ripple effect on us is national and it's so global.
Okay.
Because what we are doing or what we are watching on for others to do, we might say we are further away, we are in Accra, but the impact will be felt. And it might be now, but within the very few foreseeable future, we'll end up seeing it. So we can ensure social sustainability, environmental, economic sustainability. But if you're unable to ensure environmental sustainability, then we have failed in the three facets of sustainability. And that's why we talk about sustainable farming. We only focus on a farmer using a hoe, now driving using a tractor.
Okay.
We have forgotten about the environment. And it's the environment who will end up failing us.
Because in some of those Galamsey areas, the stories you hear are stories of Agric lands being given away for that kind of practice. So definitely we are losing land that we might not be able to use again. But I want to come to the thing for the Farmers' Day. After everything you said, I now understand when you say smart solutions, because you said some. But do you use some of them yourselves?
Yes, we do. We do. One of the basics of smart solutions is where you inculcate the use of mechanization implements. So, farmers might use who the cattlers to be able to farm. We can get the land plowed for them, we get seeders to seed for them.
Okay.
It makes the work easier and they can do more.
Okay.
With the support, they can do more.
Okay.
The issues where we are helping farmers, we are managing the person's farm.
Okay.
So we provide private extension service. Okay. Now with private extension service, we know government is doing their bit. There are extension agents in the various localities who are providing the service to farmers, but we provide private extension services to our people. The reason is sometimes, like the way you sleep and set an alarm, then the alarm would honk and remind you that you're supposed to wake up at this time. Farmers sometimes need a kind of wake-up call.
Okay.
So if I know the farmer has seeded on this day, maybe in the next 14 days, the farmer needs to apply some fertilizer.
Okay.
The fact that we have an ERP software, they call it the Chiba app. So all our farmers are in there.
Okay.
The technical officer, when he wakes up in the morning, that software that we have implemented, which is a smart technology, would pinpoint to the technical officer that you have asymmetry in this location, which will apply fertilizer, asymmetry in this location. So at least a call to the people to remind them that, oh, please today is fertilizer application day. You get a point? Okay. That call in itself is enough to help the farmer achieve the requested yield that he needs. Then we also come in with processing. People look at the VVS. Oh, are you sure this is locally produced rice? because in times before, local rice is two things. If you cook the local rice, either the color is no good, or if you are chew, you have to chew with extra caution. Either you break your teeth or you end up breaking into something. Now, we have also gone out and brought in the best of milling machineries to ensure that the farmer who sells their paddy to us does not just give to us and go ahead and sleep. We process it into quality rice so that consumers like us who are somewhere low class, middle class, but we are not with the farming area, can consume and request for more. So that this farmer can be supported to do much more acres. By so doing, we have bridged that gap and brought in the agro-processing units. So these are all part of the technologies you can also employ. Others also use weather alerts. So whenever the weather tells a bit about raining within the next 12 hours, farmers are alerted. The reason is if the farmer needs to apply fertilizer and there is no rain, because we are all relying on rain, the fertilizer, instead of it being an advantage to the crop, become injurious to the crop. So instead of adding nutrition to the crop, it starts drawing water from the soil. It becomes injurious to the crop. And sometimes it's become too harsh for the crop, so it burns the crop. So usually farmers, if you're in the farming community, whenever it rains, those who don't apply fertilizer, they still run into the farms to now go and apply their fertilizers. There are technologies where farmers can be alerted at least 12 hours and prepare. You don't have fertilizer, go and buy it so that they know, okay, we are waiting for rain to come. When rain falls, we go to the field, apply the fertilizer, or apply fertilizer before the rain falls. These are all part of this smart technology. Then I also mentioned the use of the agricultural drones, where 1 hectare can be sprayed in 15 minutes. But if I'm supposed to spray 1 hectare, I'll spend about 2 hours to spray. Now, these agricultural drones then reduces the time that I will need to be able to apply my agricultural product on the crop. And that means I can even end up doing more. I don't need to be on the farm to apply because the drones are applying it for me. So I'm not exposed to the chemicals. And that means my health is also, saved. Because sometimes in the application, even if there is the slightest mistake, you get exposed to the chemical. Whoever is applying it has, a direct effect from these things. So smart agriculture is actually there. It's something we support. If indeed this year's theme about smart agriculture, we wholeheartedly support it.
And some of the things you're talking about are basic.
Yes, very basic.
That can be used. I have heard the Vice President talk about AI. I know AI is not cheap.
Yes.
Do you use AI?
Currently, anyway, AI has actually been there since. We were not calling it AI. But then the fact that if you are even typing your letter and you make a mistake, your attention is an AI, it's artificial intelligence. Just that currently artificial intelligence can now do much more than it used to do. So it's nothing.
So even this one where you're saying there's an app alerting you,
it's still an AI because you have programmed it to alert you when there is some kind of at a certain time, or maybe if you have sensors on your soil, which we don't have now, and your nutrition, maybe your moisture is going down, it will send an alert that this area moisture is going down. Then quickly you go ahead and allow moisture to also go in there. We also have the other irrigation system that have been there since time immemorial, the pivots, center pivots, where it gives the irrigation like mixed, like rain. So about 80 hectares, you can be able to, quote unquote, rain water on that land under half a day, and that's 8 hectares. When you do the multiplication by 2.5, that's almost about 180, 200 acres. Do you get it? So yes, it's been there. It's been there, and I think we would actually push for more people who have other new innovations in agriculture more appealing to the young ones to come on board.
Well, I'm having a conversation with Dr. Martin Tettey, Nartey, and he's joining us in the studio from NewAge Agric Solutions Limited. We're talking about farming, agriculture in general. When I have to take a break, when we come back, I want to ask him what sustainable food security means to him. if Ghana says what we are looking for, if you're using smart solutions, is sustainable food security is what it means, and resilience when it comes to even the definition of food. But before we take that break, if you're concerned about your weight, Tettey says I should tell you to get their Tettey Slimmy capsules to get your weight under control. Manage your weight with Tettey Slimmy capsules. There's the Tettey Iron capsules if you're interested in improving and maintaining good vision to help you see, read, and drive better at night. Get Tettey Iron capsules. They also have the Tettey 230 herbal capsules, enhances your energy and stamina as a man and keeps your confidence. Get Tettey 230 herbal capsules for men at any Tettey herbal center. They also have the Tettey BFBF capsules for men that enhances your energy level. Tettey BFBF capsule helps in rejuvenating men. Tettey products available at all Tettey herbal centers, pharmacies, or herbal shops near you. For bulk purchase, visit Tettey Herbal Center at Okaishi Dragon on call 0205 180012. Visit them online www.tetteyherbalonline.com or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Tettey Herbal. Don't forget all the medicines I mentioned are not recommended for pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children below 12 years. We have to take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue this discussion ahead of Farmers Day.
Name Radio Gold chubule fe koni oyo Radio Gold ni flanye fe keba Radio Gold niji on the 1st of December about face soha 2023 koni wohi abaha onupa na bakwe wohi walemli niji health screening mini fair akeshi abakwe wohi walemli sajin ni woye jira fio kumu yebie ni tumobeni nchonye ni wie on the 1st of December 2023 niji Farmers Day oba start nekenu ne ngbeji pa nyon lebi kashi gbeke ngbeji eje won panyegbe ake ofia moko efe kono oyo oba bomoden ni o share Radio Gold koni wakwe wo walemlin koni wasan wo yidala ye bie ne rewo won wie ekon akeshin efe kono oyo bomoden lebi pa nyon kashi gbeke ngbeji eje ni o share bie koni ofia mo abakwe ehi walemlin shida jinye no.
Are you ready to conquer the day with the right energy? Drango! Introducing Drango Energy Drink, your ultimate source of vitality. Whether you're battling fatigue, seeking a boost, or savoring a refreshing energy kick, Drango is your answer. Drango! Featuring an iconic tiger symbol, Drango is the go-to choice for athletes, drivers, and all active go-getters. What sets Drango apart is our secret formula. Unique blend of vitamins B3, B5, B6, B12, all packed in a silver sporty bottle. Drango Energy Drink keeps you going. Drango! No fears, no limits.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended. Persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey! Flour tissue. Celery original. Floral tissue. Lead the way. Floral tissue. If it's you, you go wipe. Go wipe. We get the floral joy. Your parties, engagement, and weddings. Floral smile. Your office meetings for the market. Floral jam. Gigantic event and many things. Floral kids. And voila, no. Floral tissue. Show me the way. Floral tissue. If sweat, you go wipe. Go wipe. Floral tissue. Sweat, spill, wipe. To phone Fred 0243 033 033.
It's that time of year again for the world to focus on Ghana for Africa's biggest cultural expose. Get ready to be captivated by the magic of fashion and music as 1957 Events presents Africa's biggest cultural expose in the Gold Coast city of Accra, Ghana. Rhythms on the Runway, the Aqua Edition, Saturday, 2nd December 2023, live from the Christiansborg Castle, Osu, Accra. Rates 200 cedis standard and 400 cedis premium. Join us as we witness a world where fashion and music are more than just clothing and sound, but an expression of artistry, innovation, and creativity. Let the magic of fashion and music transport you to a world of glamour and inspiration. At Rhythms on the Runway, the Aqua Edition. Rhythms on the Runway is a 1957 event. Media partner, Radio Gold.
Masa, panintamiento ye. Madam, mame go be 5 cities.
You made up for any cocosing.
Cocoa 3 cities. Madam, miss 5 cities.
Now, when you're more so, I had ye Jimmy Bean, Mrs. Sebetica, me boo.
Season certain because at Betica, winning never stops. We are giving you a triple aqua bonus when you sign up. The biggest offers, amazing offers such as boosted odds, free bets on Mondays and Thursday, and so much more. Just go to betica.com or dial *263# on your jam phone to place your bet.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below age 18. Gaming can be addictive.
Shese washa da pa eyi achia de ra wedding na fimuni nyina obi atwen yakobi na ukodru ho a e man ko enson e no satare kro no a
yes, we go. And bia no say. And nutina say a voice data and SMS in poor. MTN just for you. I am to say. Everyone one kasa bra wakama. Press *141#. And now shenya upe our my MTN app on this one. Na jo MTN just for you to say. Everyone papa. Ewa Ghana kasifidi bako peswa. Bia antono.
MTN.
It's only 38 minutes past 9. If you just join us, we're still having that conversation on the state of Ghana's agriculture. We are not only talking about the state, we are also talking about what can be done and what is being done by even a private entity like our friends in studio this morning, NewAge Agric Solutions, to try to turn things around. Well, before we continue with the conversation and conclude on it, let me remind you that, don't forget, it's a new world of doing business, and your business shouldn't be left out. It's time to get a Momo for business today to accept payment from over 15 million Momo customers. All you need is a business registration certificate and your Ghana card. Applying to be MTN Momo merchant has been made simple and fast. You just have to dial *5051#, *5051#, and follow the prompts or apply online at momomerchantapplication.mtn.com.gh. You receive reference number which you can use to track your application for your business. So don't get caught waiting. Enjoy secure transactions and convenient transactions for your business with MTN Momo today. Know that the application is free. Do not pay any money to anyone for a merchant payment solution. Report any fraudulent charges using the Momo app available on Play Store and App Store. That is coming from MTN. And Betika, today is Thursday, so Betika says they'll give you a 50% free bet if you bet today. When you bet with Betika. If you're new, Betika is also giving a whopping 175% aquaba bonus to bet on your favorite teams or play your favorite virtual casino games when you register. So go to betika.com or dial *263# on your YAM phone to register and play. Terms and conditions apply. Betika.com is proud to be associated with this program, and it's nice to have them as partners. And then there's also St. Andrews. They say I should tell you that if you are finished, if you've just written your BEC, they're asking you whether you have been posted to the school of your choice, or you are posted to a day school far from home, need an alternative, or you are not placed at all. Then your best bet is St. Andrews Senior High School. It's a grade A school admitting students for Senior High School 1. They have excellent boarding facilities. They do general arts, business, home economics, agric science, general science, and visual arts here in Accra. They are located at Tettey Tribunal, last stop. Give them a call on these numbers: 054 60 48 332 or 024 98 32 015. St. Andrews SHS, they are always in the lead. Doc is still in studio with me. And then, like I said, I was going to ask you, and I insist on asking you about this because they said if the food is available, you can see it, but you can't buy it. Then the matter of accessibility becomes an issue. So if the word sustainable food security is mentioned, what comes into your mind?
Yeah, so anyway, as I mentioned earlier, sustainability comes from 3 major facets.
Okay.
So the social bet, where the availability falls under, the economic bits, where the affordability falls under. Then we have the environmental bit of sustainability.
Okay.
That is where I mentioned that if we achieve a socially sustainable food system and an economically sustainable food system, but we don't have an environmentally sustainable food system, then we have lost it.
Okay.
So yes, I do agree and I understand that yes, sometimes food can be available, but it's about you being able to afford it.
Okay.
And for farmers, you can't also blame them much because almost 80% or up to 90% of what the farmers use to do the production are imported.
Okay.
Now, if they are imported, that means there is an impact of forex on it. There's the impact of potential custom duty on it.
Okay.
And there's also the impact of global supply chain issues.
Okay.
When COVID happened, China is the production hub of most of the agricultural chemicals. Now, when COVID happened, they shut down and they reduced the number of states or the number of companies that produce that. Obviously, cost of those products will go up. Now, if it is so, then you also have a forex, which is also either same or still high. That means you still have to multiply your price by that, and it ends up making your product very expensive. And that's an unfortunate situation we find ourselves in, all because most of the things we use in Ghana are not locally produced, and we have to import them in. So sometimes the farmer has no choice but to pass it on to the consumer, and that's what makes the food prices quite high.
Okay.
I'm sure there are issues about inflation, and all these things come together to have an effect on inflation. But you and I, our salaries don't increase by that rate. Else, if inflation was 37% by this month, that means I'll tell my employer to increase my salary 30% the following month for me to be able to stay afloat. But it's also, and therefore it makes your ability to be able to afford the food become an issue.
Okay.
And when it's a fair point. There's nothing we can really do about it. But when it comes to accessibility, that is why I made mention that if you want cheaper food, then we need to do more roads, better roads, and be able to have other means of transporting food to Accra at more cheaper cost.
Okay.
You remember the analogy I went to with you. You can get the farm gate price at a very low price, but then when the one who has taken upon himself to bring the produce to Accra or to the major town, when he does all this job and the hectic nature of it, he may also want to add his margin to it. And that's what makes the price very expensive. So imagine if the roads were smooth. We are not talking about asphalted road. I'm talking about the farm roads which are leveled. It makes transportation a lot easier. Then you can then be able to have a case to also request for food to be reduced or food price to be reduced. Then, as you're also all aware, there was an unfortunate issue of the military taking over some of our neighboring countries. And that's where we also import some of our vegetables from. Now, when they close their borders, it means that those who have some few stock in country, I mean, a lot of these people, they do ton-a-ton. So they have only 10,000 slaves to work with. They make a margin of 1,000 slaves every time they come and sell. Now, if they know the border is closed, and I should have done a trip once a month, and the border will be closed for 6 months, he or she has to also survive. So now, instead of she selling the price at the same price so she can go and come back, she will have to add on for her to sustain for the next 6 months till the border is open again. It is a situation where the psychologists call self-preservation. They have to first preserve themselves before they start preserving their neighbors. And that's why all these things come into play. So the Agric, someone will say Agric is not rocket science. But I think it is more hectic than rocket science. Because it's a mix of chemistry, biology, physics, mathematics. It's more draining than rocket science, and that's why when I speak with this kind of passion, I speak with a passion because if we don't do anything now, as I mentioned earlier, if we don't revolve and get the youth into Agric, and start producing our foods at a very good rate, or increasing our food production at a very good rate, very soon we'll perish. That one, there's nothing we can do about it. Very soon we'll perish.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. But do we have food security?
Yes. So as I mentioned, so there's food security. I know about it. Maize, we produce much more than we need. Rice. So, food security is about having the food to consume. So yes, there's food security. But then our consumption of rice is in the millions of tons.
Okay.
Our local production is about 600,000 metric tons. That means there's a deficit, and we have to import. Our consumption of poultry is also in the 400,000 tons.
Okay.
Our local production is about 60,000 tons. There's a big gap. We have to import. So it is the importation that brings in the food sovereignty.
Okay.
And that's so we might have food security because we can bring the food and consume, but there's no food sovereignty. Because the day I read in the news that India said they were no more exporting rice, but they want to hold on to their rice. That means any rice that comes from India to Ghana will no more come.
Okay.
And that's where food sovereignty is attacked.
Okay.
So you have food security now, but if you don't find a way to wean yourself off and be a little bit sovereign to a large extent, you would end up not having food security in a very near future when the food sovereignty is attacked.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand the concept.
I do.
Yes.
I do. So what the target should be if we want to do sustainable food security, we should target food sovereignty.
Food sovereignty.
That we produce what we eat.
Yes. And it starts from the seed.
Okay.
So, yes, we pride ourselves as farmers. PFG 1, the first one, farmers have increased their appetite for certified hybrid seeds.
Okay.
But then most of these hybrid seeds are important as well. So I would entreat government that individuals who are bringing the hybrid seed should also be encouraged to do some level of local production. It can be 10%, it can be 20%. In the next 20 years, we might not be fully sustainable, but we can be, to a large extent, sustainable. You get the point, and that is where the I think it needs to go. So yes, our individuals are doing all the things, putting the right things there. But I think there is a need for the states as a country. We need to push for much more money to be moved into Agric, so that things can become cheaper for those who are into Agric. So when you decide that after your day job, you want to go and farm over the weekend, you should be able to say, okay, this is where my land is located, this is my side plan. You should be able to get some financial support, single digits, for you to go and farm. You get the point? I'm not saying the money should be dished out and dashed, but the person should go to the process and be able to benefit from it just because the person wants to do Agric. Okay. And I think that's what the other countries are doing. And that's why a country like Pakistan, even in the heat of their war, they can still be able to produce rice enough and export some for Ghana to buy. Okay. In the heat of the war in Ukraine, they can still be able to produce grain and export for Africa to buy. In the heat of almost a collapsed economy like Sri Lanka, they produce food and bring some for us to buy. Argentina, Brazil, they all have very turbulent economies, but they're able to produce and have access to bring to some of us to buy. And by so doing, the government also secures some forex to help stabilize our currency. So my admonishment is, yes, we are doing all the right things, but I think there's much more we can do. I believe, as I mentioned, we're contributing 90.5% to the GDP. We shouldn't be giving less than 1%. We should be giving at least 5% of government expenditure. Let's make Agric enticing. Let's make Agric interesting. Let's make Agric sexy for the youth. And else, if the unfortunate happens, and there's a disease that only kills people 55 years and above, we'll end up having 80% of our families be wiped away.
That's interesting.
That's it.
That statistics alone is quite worrying.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you a question on planting for food and jobs.
Yeah.
But I think that's a whole issue on its own anyway.
Yes.
But for you, is it easier to say the planting for food job failed or did not fail? If I ask you that question, is it a difficult question to answer?
It's anyway. I mean, I will come from the practicalist point of view. I'm a private man. I was a beneficiary of Planning for Food and Jobs.
Okay.
I was a partaker in it. So I'll come from two angles. I would say, no, it didn't fail because we ended up having many companies who came into Agric.
Okay.
But then I can say it also did fail because after Planning for the Jobs ended, a lot of those companies are no more. So they came in, but were they made stable? I think that's what the question is. So as a beneficiary, a proud beneficiary, I put my heart out. It went well. But we stayed because we understand the rudiment of Agric.
Okay.
Some couldn't stay.
Okay.
And I think
so some of the companies that came on board
couldn't stay. I mean, because there's a year, there's this whole year, or there's 1 year of no planning for the jobs.
Oh, okay.
And as such, some of the companies couldn't stay on.
Okay.
Does it mean that without planning for the job, they can't sustain themselves? I think that's where we so I remember we used to advise that those who come on to the planning for the job supply should be made to also farm.
Okay.
So that they can also contribute to the food security issue, contribute to some, kitty, maybe it could be
so not only the supply inputs, but
should also farm. They should be made to farm, and that means they should be forced to employ youth among themselves. We are 52. NewAge Agric Associates Limited, 3 years in operation. We are proudly the agro-based company of the year by CMG for the 2022.
Okay.
We are 52 young individuals.
Yes.
Other companies should be allowed to also employ them, just be beneficiaries of it.
Okay.
And by so doing, we reduce unemployment, we increase our food that we are producing, and we also increase, then it makes sense of the kind of support we are giving. But then I think the period 2.0, the policy I've seen tries to, or it does solve the issues that face in the phase one.
That's the policy.
The policy.
So you're waiting to see how the implementation will be.
That's it. But then I think now they want the private companies so they're skin in the game.
Okay.
And I think that's what it is. When you go to the bank to go for money, they ask you, what's your skin in the game?
Okay.
I think it is fair. If you want to be a beneficiary of a government project, you have skin in the game. So if you don't pay back, unfortunately, that skin of yours in the game can be taken back. In as much as a company we want to make money for ourselves, we also are looking at having a country also sustain, being alive to give us more business, going forward. So this is the dynamism that we think will be actually helpful. And I think they are doing more, but I think they should push to get much more money. If they do the 2.0 and do a double of what they intend to do, believe you me, many people will come on board. And that's the aim. Bring more youth to come on board.
That's the key for you. Yeah. In fact, to be very frank, the first time I came to your company, I look at and the way you all appeared, saying they are into Agric. I look at everybody and I said, this is not Agric. Because when you grow up outside Accra, you know how Agric looks like. You are seeing people who are, and you can see, and then said that the head of the institution is doctor, something like so, teacher. Because your whole mindset is different.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things your appearance will change over time.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're just joining us, those of you who love the VV rice, and when you go there, lots of young people.
Yes.
Young people who have taken up Agric and are confident about what they are doing. When I saw it, I was so impressed. But I want to ask Perry Edunyame. In fact, you have the job of selling not only VV rice. You're selling other things, including what you're offering farmers, right?
Yes.
Or you are limited to VV rice?
I work mainly on VV rice. He mentioned Chigaba. So Chigaba is an entire production company or team that handles the production side of it.
Oh, okay.
So my job, or I should say our job here in Accra, is that when they've done all that and they've brought it to Accra, at least he's spoken about the post-harvest losses, all the challenges they've gone through. At least what has been able to get to Accra, we are supposed to make sure that it goes off to make enough money for them to continue during the cycle.
Okay.
And also to conscientize Ghanaians. He mentioned getting Ghanaians interested in Agric. I believe another aspect is also to fall in love with Ghanaian products.
Okay.
That way there's there's that excitement for the young person to go into its production because it's now trendy, to be taking Ghanaian something, or to be doing Ghanaian, to be associated with something Ghanaian. If the perception of a Ghanaian product is inferior to the foreign product, if that perception pertains, it makes it difficult for anybody to see the need, especially young people who are moved by social media, moved by what their friends say. It makes it difficult for them to see the need to get involved in it, to even find out that you can use drones, you can use this, you can use that. So our job is mainly to show Ghanaians that you can be you can be guy exactly to be involved in anything agriculture.
What do you do? How do you produce a VV rice? Because to be very frank, I'm not a big fan of rice. And me, I'm more of a banku person.
Oh yeah.
And yes. But whenever they are cooking a VV rice, the smell alone will tell you something is happening.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I get you. I mean,
do people ask you that question?
Really? Yeah, people. Yes, I mean, I think one of the questions we usually get people asking us is, "Are you sure it's a local brand? That's the thing. Are you sure you're not going to buy any of those brands and import it and that kind of thing?" And it's because the NewAge story. The NewAge story, if it was a movie, it's more like a laugh, an unending love story.
Okay.
Because we start from bringing product into the country. So by bringing product into the country, we are solving a certain need of a farmer. Then we provide this product we have brought to the country to the farmer on credits. Now the farmer says, "Oh, my money can do 1 acre, but because of your support, I can do 2 acres."
Okay.
Now this farmer has improved his livelihood by a double, by twice already. Now, this input you give to the farmer is an input that will give the farmer the best of returns, unlike the others that the farmer uses. Then this farmer then says, "Okay, whenever I am done and there is glut, as I mentioned, I'm harvesting. People come and they strong arm me and tell me, you pay this price, I'll pay you this price, or I'll leave the produce for you."
Okay.
Now we say anything you produce, we'll buy from you. So now the farmer now knows that, okay, I am going to farm at double the rates and there's a ready market for me.
Okay.
So the farmer is happy to farm and farm well. And the farmer follows our protocol judiciously. So I mentioned that we have the agricultural extension agent who support these farmers to farm.
Okay.
So because the farmer knows that I have ready markets, then let me do what these people are telling me to do so I can get the quality that they want, so that I can be able to sell everything to them. So as farmers harvest, we are there and we are buying. And I told you we have one of the state-of-the-art rice mills. So as we are buying, we are moving it there, we are milling.
Okay.
Now that we are milling, the farmer is also happy that my produce has gone onto the market and is being called a Tettey name.
Okay.
And we are using a VIV because most of the farmers that we currently, our farms are in the voter enclave.
Okay.
It is fair for us to use a name that they appreciate. And that's why we are using
it's a perfect name.
So let us say if it's a story, if it's a movie, it would have been a love movie. So there is love throughout. As I mentioned, we are young individuals. I mentioned our average age in NewAge is about 32 years. That's our average age. And you can see young, enthusiastic individuals who
average age
are
of 32.
That's true. Young, enthusiastic individuals who are there and farming and trying to make a name for themselves and then make for the country, a name for the country. So that's the NewAge love story. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Doc. And a big thank you to you, Perry. Just make sure the VV rice is available. Not being fed to us at all.
You have some.
We take an exception to that.
I think we owe you.
If not, we'll say it already.
This one when we'll go behind it.
But nice to see you.
Very nice to see you.
So this is Dr. Martin Tettey. Nartey. I never knew that there was a difference.
Oh, there was a difference.
I never knew. Hey. It's quite an education.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when I call you Tettey, I've reduced you to the second one.
Yeah,
the first one.
If you call me Tettey, I think I have to sue you. Tettey is a third new one.
Oh, then.
So and there's a Y and an H. And it's critical. So the name, the Y means Tettey, the H means Tettey. Yes.
He's general manager at NewAge Agric Solutions Limited. In fact, to identify him, FV Rice.
Yes.
Your famous FV Rice. And then this is the man who usually does the supplying.
Yeah.
His name is Perry. We all call him Perry. That's all. Perry. And then you're accompanied by
Michelle Cote.
Okay.
Yeah, she's my commercial assistant.
Okay, great.
And I mean, I am make FV Rice.
So you remember all that? Yeah.
It's part of the family.
Well, I think we will do this again. We'll find time
should.
and have further conversations on Agric, especially some of the solutions you're.
If I may, I mean, because you mentioned FV Rice, let me not leave without letting people know where they can also find it here. So if you're in and around the Soman Kaneshi area, you can get some at Great Heart Founders.
Okay.
Their number is 0245 162 747. That's 0245 162 747. People around Medina, I'm mentioning the various distributors. So people around Medina can get it at Jessiram Service at 0244 419 9011. 0244 419 49011. Sorry.
Okay.
Or if you're around Legon area, the UPSA, you can get Ophir Rice. That's 0247 4742 407. Or if you want to become a distributor yourself, or you want to just pass by our office to pick your VV Rice, we are open all the time. You can call, you can get it delivered to you anywhere in Accra. Okay. That's 050 992 3399. That's 050 992 3399. Thank you very much.
Would we have heavy rice at the fair tomorrow?
Yes, you have heavy rice at the fair. And I think we need to talk about your sales point also. You guys were doing some good sales for us.
Yes. Yes, so that one you discuss with Nancy. So when you sell FV rice, no, but you were saying you're doing one other thing.
I said, Ochanamania time, may breast screening, may board doctors no my breast screening, nothing, my 20 FV rice for one. Yes, FV rice.
Thank you. I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
All right. And Sena, Asasia to Christmas. Yampato, baby, I could pen so we check up as I say a talk. Heart Builders Real Estate. Heart Builders Real Estate, and kind of Asasiana, neighbor, 25,000 Ghana cities or Shire Hills. No, she say, oh, so at the above from Crano. And you say, no bet me any plot of land with as low as 25 Ghana cities or Shire Hills. And if you no get 20,000 Ghana cedis, or 20,000 Ghana cedis, Ubitmania be able to pull in office and go probably here say, we are one deposit base of 4,000 and answer 5,000. Ya can Busumisia, ye chair gusu at the moment. This is a good news. And Timpacho from Elhoma Trufu so 059 324 4322 059 324 4322 and I say 059 599006 059 599006. Heart Builders Real Estate. See we are the future plan. Sanso and Asumdwe Spiritual and Herbal Center. I Pachoko Nekohu a Prophet Blaze Emmanuel J. Our no and that Asumdwe Spiritual and Herbal Center. No Diano say a year job related issue challenge with traveling abroad and I say health related challenges and if is the Kahunano Ukuhu a Prophet Blaze Emmanuel J. Obemo Aquanchere na face with me a design na Esu Enkono office na or a la pasta Bora number 4. Alaji Kwan is why ho and 0244 643012 0244 643012 and I say 0552 482786 0552 482786.
Lawyer will go through some of the messages via WhatsApp. How do okay, so this is this one is from, I think I got the message earlier. This is from Wills Bonnie, our friend Wills Bonnie. Says, I know get them well. If truly the majority in the house think, say them get the numbers, why they no agree for head counts? You this 419 people. And then there's also a phone Nicholas Lab that will say a good morning to us. A good morning to Egypt, Kobla, Kudoto. A good morning to Hosagwama BS. Yes. He's a fantastic player. He's a champion man. Be champion man. Also a good morning to all members of Bull to Defend group all over the globe. I hear you are big people. La.
Yo, a message is Seneca about what we say, Sena. I don't think the NDC is ready for the 2024 election. You disqualify Michael Neal, your boy, from contesting Ododo, shaking my head. The NDC should forget Ododo come 2024 from Richie Paps and the message we bye. And Kwablanvi Pokasi Bengazi so the message by Ochemi said President Akufo-Addo says that he will do anything possible for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to win the next coming election. What does he mean about that? Is he going to use the Electoral Commission chair, Madam Jean Mensah Adukwe, to rig the election? This kind of talk shows that Dr. Bawumia and MPP have already lost the next coming election. MPP is aware that Ghanaians have lost interest in President Akufo-Addo's government, who will vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, while MPP government has forced Ghanaians to pay more taxes. Still, we are paying e-levy and COVID tax. Why should it be so? It is only wicked government going. It's only wicked government going to do that. That will punish his people like that. Okay. The message is not the buy and say how they are not sharing clear, but say message no. The oppressor no more. And we so I was so disappointed in the speaker's action in Parliament following the voice note. The speaker declared the yes has it. Thus, the 2024 budget has been approved by majority voice note. I'm of the view that from Mr. Speaker has an ulterior motive and wanted to stampede government business. Greetings to Honorable Charles Bisiu, the incoming MP for Esikado Ketan, and we a blueprint and the message we
argument they are making does not add. I agree. I completely disagree with that argument. See, but it's a process. It's a process. Yeah. I'm surprised that even lawyers are making that argument. You see, you cannot make that argument. The budget was not approved. This thing that they are even parading about, that they are pushing through, are they happy with what they have even presented? Is this a budget that can deal with the current circumstances we have? That they are pushing and acting like as if it's something fantastic.
Mental. Positive change, my dear. Now, see, this Nana Bawumia government is the most reckless, insensitive, incompetent, visionless, and clueless government Ghana has ever produced. Today, poverty and hardship is crying in everybody's home like a newborn baby who is crying for breast milk. All these hardships are the creation of Nana Bawumia government. Please, let's all support James' 24-hour economic agenda. It's the only way to transform this nation. Vote for change. Come 7 December 2024. Both NDC and JM. Positive change, Medina, Messiah, or the Ebaye and so any.
Hadia message, MPP party is well known as a tradition of notorious nation workers who only go into politics to plan public to fund public funds to enrich themselves. Aaron Asari says, I have the farming dream, but Nanado has really killed my passion. Really admire him. I think you should go back into it. It's not bad. Good morning to Portia Akwa. Emma here is also joining us. Good morning to Emma. And then there's Kofi Era who says, I use ginger and garlic a lot, and I grow them in large pots on my balcony from March to November, so I don't buy them. That's great. Good morning to Elizabeth Fojo. And Argentina. Elizabeth Fojo is also joining us. Yes, I just said that. Daniel Apia says, yes. Okay, Daniel, duly noted. That's Daniel. Let me do some more. From those of you who are sending messages to us via Facebook. We are still here. You are surprised. Positive change, Madina said, this is the number of young government is most reckless, insensitive, incompetent, visionless, and clueless government Ghana has ever produced. Today, poverty and hardship is crying in everybody's home, like new baby born who is crying for breast milk. All these hardships the creation of Nana Bawumia government. Please let us also put GM 24-hour economy agenda. It's the only way to transform this nation. Good morning to Estella Gracela Agnes Abuaji joining us live from the UK. There's Ebenezer Benelis who's joining us from France. Nene, hey, it says I'm here. Language Awinati, good morning to you, sir. And a good morning to Kobla Kola. A good morning to you. A good morning to Fokofi Amega. Eric Yao, a good morning to you, sir. Yes, Wolanyi Mosashi was also joining us. Says, Sena, good morning. Please let that song play to the mass. The diabolic that you want me to continue. Anyway, I had more, but I had other things to do. I'll come back next week. On this matter, they have run away. I'll come back next week. But I don't know why they won't do that. So we have to shame them into stopping. Yes. Because these people, the way they are going is not good. You have to at least, your own budget, you bring budget. The budget is in the house. You say you have the numbers. What are you going to? Yeah, where were they going to? You have your budget. You say you have the numbers. The numbers are there. Where were you going to? You stay and fight. Nancy, a reminder of the free health care.
Yes.
I think Bajimba maybe. Oh, okay, no. Okay.
So we are just reminding our listeners that it's tomorrow.
Okay.
It's tomorrow the 1st. So please pass by and be a part of the health screening. It is free.
Okay.
All the services that they are going to provide here tomorrow, if you go to any health facility, they'll take money from you. And so we are doing it for free. And so you have to take advantage of that and be here. And let's have fun. Let's network. Let's see you. Let's be able to place a face to the names that you've been hearing.
Yes.
And come and know us better. And be a part of the health screening as well. And so we are just reminding all of you. And there will be a fair. So like I've always said, the things that you want to buy, you are preparing to buy for Christmas, some of those will be available at discounted prices. So you can take advantage of that as well and get few things from here as well. So tomorrow we are starting from 8 a.m. I start from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. So pass by anytime and then meet us, be a part of the health screening, pick one or two things as well.
But Jimba will be there.
Yeah. He's the MC for the deal. Champion. And there's a health helper.
Yeah, health helper.
The Mid Morning Show is up next with Vajimba himself. It's Thursday, so there'll be some throwback. I can't just tell you where it to come from. The last time I said Hip Life, he started with Nigeria. So he will determine what he's playing from. So we're back.